Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I am your host, Jeff Howard, and I have Pablo Riesgo with me. Hey, Pablo.
Hey.
I love talking. So, look, Pablo is here because this episode is going to be a 4 questions episode, which means Pablo will be answering name 3 favorite films, name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser-known film for people to seek out. But before we get to those questions, I'm just going to point out that the podcast before this one is Pablo's interview. We talk about your whole life and career in film and your film Marco Polo, which was at both festivals that I program. It's funny, when I started the film festival thing, you called yourself head programmer.
Yeah.
Now you call yourself festival runner.
Yeah.
And it seems weird to say the festival I run. But I guess it's true.
It's what you do.
Yeah, I know it's a job. And I guess runner is more accurate than programmer because I do more than program.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do the government forms. So
Difficult
anyway,
job.
But
Do not envy you.
my whole point was Marco Polo at Film Invasion Los Angeles in 2024 took home the Grand Jury Award for Best Feature Film Drama, took home the Grand Jury Award for Best Screenplay for you. You wrote it. Also, then it showed at Sherman Oaks Film Festival, took home the Grand Jury Award for Best Supporting Performer in a Feature Film, and that was for Jorge Zuloaga.
Zuloaga.
Look, I switched the A and O, didn't I? Damn it.
It's
but
a hard name
I
to
got the
pronounce.
Z for TH.
Very hard name to pronounce.
Zuloaga.
Zuloaga, yeah.
Zuloaga. And I'll have to get it right because I think he's so handsome if I ever meet him. No, so anyway. But even more importantly, won the Grand Jury Award for Best Performance by a Cast in a Feature Film. And it's actually a very big cast.
Yeah.
And also got the Grand Jury Award for Best Cinematography for your cinematographer, Marco Alonso, which he was at their screening. And I didn't know. If only I had known he was getting that award, I could have said something during your Q&A. That would have been, I admit.
It's so lovely.
We let our jury members, they decide by watching on Film Freeway, but they also get to like slip into the audiences. And so that's why we decide the awards after the festival. But I admit, it would be kind of cool to be able to tell people what they're winning.
It's okay.
Yeah,
He
forgives us.
Yeah, no, that's not the point. The point was to see the film with an audience and to share it, and watch it on a big screen, especially in those theaters.
Agreed. All right, so if hearing all those awards that Marco Polo won doesn't make you want to watch it, then I don't like you. But you should still watch it. And, there will be clickable links in the show notes if and when you can watch in the USA. Right now it is on Amazon Prime Video for Spain. So just use a VPN, or fly to Madrid with your laptop and go to some amazing museums. By the way, I also loved, whatever. I've been around the world a bit because in my first marriage, I was married to a Hollywood travel agent. So she wanted to go all over the world, see everything her clients saw.
Okay.
So I did get to spend a week in Madrid and just fell in love with that city.
I love it too.
Yes, your hometown.
Yep.
Of sorts. Although you have a couple hometowns, I bet. Do you feel like London's part of you?
It is. Actually, I went to shoot a soap opera there in December, right after we played at Sherman Oaks. And it was a strange feeling because I hadn't been to London in 7 years. And being back, it's just like you have all these memories, but the place is not the same. You belong to not only a place, but a time period, right? So when you live in a place, it's not only the location, it's also the time. And now the place has changed so much. Well, it hasn't, it's not new buildings or anything, but like the people, it's new.
No,
there.
things do change. Even, a wonderful thing about cities in Europe, and I know I sound like whatever, but is that they don't tear everything down and rebuild it. Like they'll repurpose a building, but they don't just tear it down.
Yeah.
And, it breaks my heart. I'm no longer on social media, but I used to love this vintage Los Angeles Facebook group where it was just vintage photos of LA. And in like the 1910s, it looked like San Francisco. Like the architecture was so beautiful. And we just tear all the beautiful buildings down and put something new up. And you end up, I don't know, I feel like it makes it You can end up
It
with less
loses the
soul.
personality of the city. Yeah.
You do. And your personality becomes transient.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I love about European capitals is you go there and you're like, hey, that building's been there since 1100.
It happens, but not at that big scale. It might have to do with the way that they build the buildings over there, because they're all metal and concrete, and here you build with wood. So, don't know. I'm no architect, but I think it might have to do with that.
Well, by the way, shame on me. The purpose of the podcast isn't to talk about how great Madrid is. And by the way, if you didn't listen to Pablo's interview podcast, seriously, listen to the one before this, and then you'll understand why I brought up London, because this young man grew up in Madrid, then went to London, then San Francisco, then Santa Barbara for college, where I went to college, now Los Angeles. So you've seen some truly great, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Such a great city.
I love that city.
It's such a great city. And but there's a lot less to do there than LA. Professionally. And since you're not a programmer, software programmer, you're better off down here.
I think so.
For sure. All right, so enough preamble. I said this was a 4 questions episode. I can already tell from your interview you mentioned films and filmmakers. So you've got so you have a film studies degree. So you want to tell me 3 of your favorite films?
3 of my favorite films. They keep changing, but the ones that don't ever go away would be Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Peter Jackson. It's definitely the best of the 3. I will fight anybody who says Fellowship of the Ring and explain why. But yeah, Return of the King. Second one would be Whiplash, Damien Chazelle. Love that film. And the third one is always the one that keeps changing. I'll have to give it to this year's Nosferatu, because I was blown away by the cinematography and just like the take on the vampire genre. Even, it was just, I don't know. I think it enhances the old Nosferatu, and I love the novel Dracula, and I think it's a great adaptation of the novel. So, yeah. And I love the director as well. Robert
Very
Eggers,
cool. Yeah, very cool. And by the way, I mean, Whiplash is...
It's an incredible
those
film.
are great.
It gives me goosebumps every time you get to that final drum solo where J.K. Simmons, they are looking at each other. I get goosebumps. Just.
It is. And well, you have live music in Marco Polo. Like the combination of cinema and music is so powerful. And not just the soundtrack level, but when there's music performed in a film.
Yeah.
It's just powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. And I'm not a Fellowship of the Ring. I'm with you, because Fellowship of the Ring is really just Act 1.
Yeah. And I love it too. Don't get me wrong. Like all 3 films are masterpieces in their own right.
And actually,
but,
Twin Towers, the middle one, it's very dear to my heart.
Yeah. I love the 3. Don't get me wrong. But Return of the King, extended edition, is just...
I am torn between extended and theatrical.
I don't know. I'm such a big fan of the world, the genre of fantasy, and big fan of Tolkien and all his books. I've basically read everything there is to read about Middle Earth. And I don't know. I just think Peter Jackson did a fantastic job.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, it's
greatest adaptation, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, he had the book in his lap. Like he instead of checking the script, he checked the book.
Yeah.
So good. And talk about an achievement. For sure. All right. So the next question, do you want to throw you were debating. I wanted to throw you, like, you want to name another favorite?
Another favorite film. Well, I used to say, because I also like I love independent film, but in terms of like big budget films, I felt like something that was fresh was the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
That was a great movie.
It was a great take on the superhero. And I don't know. I feel like even though now it's a genre that's overused and like Hollywood is just milking the cow at this point, I do think that movie is really great.
And it's so entertaining and so technically perfect. Yeah, but I mean, all the Marvel shit's technically perfect, but that one was special.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. All right. Question 2 is a film you feel is underrated.
film I feel is underrated. I would have to say Neruda by Pablo Larraín. Probably one of my favorite films. And I just don't know that enough people know about it.
As you see from my face, I haven't seen it. I have heard of it.
I love that movie. It's so great. And people that watch it, and I'm like, you got to watch Neruda. And they're like, yeah, I saw it. It's a great film. So I think that film is underrated. More people need to watch it.
Excellent. Well, now question 3 is always fun. Mm-hmm. You are such a nice person. I might give you, do you want my disclaimer on what overrated means? Because it doesn't mean bad.
Okay.
You could, in fact, sometimes I'll name an overrated if someone asks me, and I say, this is a great film. But, you know, it won the Oscar for best film against something that was better than it, and I feel like it's, you know, I love that film, but it's overrated. So it's not an insult.
Yeah.
It's really saying that the culture's opinion is askew.
Yeah. I can say it.
Nice.
Green Book.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, the Green Book was overrated.
Well, I'm not even sure that's an example of that I just said. I think the Green Book is just a piece of shit. Oh, that was terrible of me.
Yeah.
I found that film unpleasant in every way, actually.
Yeah.
I really didn't like that film at all.
Yeah.
Except the acting. Good acting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you.
Let's see. Then what other film I can think of that is overrated in the way that you described? So it has to be kind of like a well-known film?
Well, no, it doesn't. I mean, honestly, we can leave it a Green Book if you want. But I was just, sometimes, you're such a nice person, I thought some people rightfully say, films are so hard to make that there's no such thing as a, you know, I don't want to insult any film because just the fact that they made it, you know, look, in its defense, Green Book might not have been for you or I.
Yeah.
But a lot of people loved it. A lot of people enjoyed it. And it's valid art.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd have to stay with Green Book. Because to think of an overrated film.
Well, it won Best Picture, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, it's overrated.
And if I looked at what it beat, I admit, like, if I had, you know, all the money in the world and I could hire people to do all the work that keeps me busy, I would maybe start a second podcast where we go back in time and look at the films from each year and then say, okay, what should have won Best Picture that year? 10 years later, what do we think of, you know, it's 2025. What do we think of 2015 now that we have a decade with these films? What should have been nominated that wasn't? What should have won that might not have won? Because in the moment, you don't know, right? It takes a few viewings really to really grasp art. Anyway, all right. So we're going to move on. Oh, wow, we're already at question 4. And in theory, you could have covered it with Neruda. But lesser-known film for people to seek out.
Lesser-known film for people to seek out. I would have to... I kind of want to say something coming out from Spain that people may not be familiar with. That I feel like in the U.S., they know Almodóvar, but they don't know his earlier work. And it would be Atame, Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down in English. If you're not familiar with that film, I would highly recommend. I think it's the film that launched him. Or Everything About My Mother.
Yeah. Tie Me Up, Tie Me Down launched him in this country.
Yeah?
But I will brag that I'm the kind who saw Pepe, Lucy y Bom on VHS.
Yeah.
Which, when honestly, he was more like almost like the Spanish John Waters in a way, right? That film is, his intention was to offend.
Yeah.
But then I think I've seen most of his, and he's just so great. He's one of my favorite filmmakers.
Yeah, a lot of people here in the U.S. I feel like are not familiar with his work.
They're not,
definitely
and they just associate it with Women on the Verge, and
with a Nervous Breakdown. Yeah,
they're also his work is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Yeah, All About My Mother. Mm-hmm. I'm using the English titles, of course.
Yeah.
One of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a genius. And I say that with guilt because I think I haven't seen the last few. Because now my life is different.
Oh, let me throw you another one. Not from Spain, but from Argentina. I don't know if like people are familiar with it, but Argentina 1985 is definitely worth checking out. It's about the end of the dictatorship in Argentina.
Oh, and the name of the film is Argentina 1985.
Mm-hmm. Great film.
If only Americans cared about. Sorry.
I'm thinking of international cinema that I hope that Americans can get into and appreciate a little bit of. So I'm giving you a little bit of the Hispanic.
I confess as we're wrapping this podcast up. In the last podcast, when you mentioned, Spanish language, the Marco Polo and stuff, and I was it was occurring to me that we've had the Korean explosion. American culture has embraced Korean cinema and this and that, and we were always, stuff from England and France we've always embraced, but not enough of the Spanish. Speaking world gets here.
There's so much good cinema coming out.
And oddly enough, for some reason, we embrace films from Brazil sometimes and Portuguese, right? Because what was it? City of God broke through and a couple of things. But I'm not. When are we? Yeah, shouldn't we get like an explosion of Spanish language?
Yeah.
Maybe when California secedes and becomes its own country. and
Maybe.
we become by.
I'll throw one more of a movie that people don't really know about that everybody needs to watch, and this is from my friend. Chronicles of a Wandering Saint is the title in English. It's a movie that needs to be watched.
Is it feature short?
It's a feature.
It's a feature, and where can they just find it if they go to that?
I believe it's on Amazon Prime now. In the U.S.
Excellent. People should. All right. Well, that's a big one then.
Yeah. It's 2 films from Argentina and 1 from Spain that people, I think they need to watch.
Excellent. I actually love when people do what you just did. Like, I can't name them because now, like I told you, you're like, we're over podcast number 500 now, but I'm cheating because there's 2 podcasts per guest. So, more like 250 plus people. But when someone names a lesser known to seek out that it's someone else's film they saw on the festival circuit that sticks in their head, I'm like, oh, God bless you for sharing that, because I just really appreciate artists like yourself who appreciate the work of their peers instead of just being a navel-gazer narcissist. Yeah.
Well, Chronicles of a Wandering Saint, I will say, will blow you away.
Ooh, all right.
So I watched it 3 times. It came in La Lif. I saw it in La Lif for the first time, and then they played it at AFI. I think it was a special screening at AFI. And then I also, I know the director, so I got a link from him and watched it again. So
cool. All right. Well, I will pay whatever, $6.99, whatever I got to. I'll pay for it on Amazon. Why not? Or maybe I'll try to find another VOD that's owned by a less odious company, but Amazon, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
All right. I know every time I say like, you can't live in the United States and not have Amazon be part of your life.
Yeah.
It's true. My friends in Europe, like they'll be like, when the Discovery New Film TV series was on Amazon Prime Video, like, oh, but we don't, it's my French friend. We don't really like Amazon here. And I'm like, yeah, but do we have options?
Yeah.
Like at this point, all the other stores have closed. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so sad. All right, well, let me wrap it up. First of all, Pablo's social media, your Instagram and your website will be clickable links in the show notes, so I won't bother having you say those again. And I will run through my closing spiel with a special bonus I'm going to share that I forgot to share last time, but what we were just talking about, I can't help it. So, thank you for listening to the Discover Indie Film Podcast. If you want to learn more about this podcast, it's all about talking to filmmakers who are currently on the festival circuit. Go to discoverindiefilm.com. It's at DIF Wins on social media. Go to Amazon Prime Video, type in Discover Indie Film, and there's 7 seasons of Discover Indie Film, which is just an anthology of great short films from the festival circuit. Season 8 didn't happen, and for reasons I'll stop talking about, because I said it on like 40 other podcasts, or 100, I don't know how many I bitched about it. So anyway, that's the Discover Indie Film thing. If you want to learn more about the Sherman Oaks Film Festival, we hold that every December, and Marco Polo was there last year. You can go to ShermanOaksFF.com for the website, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. Sister festival that also showed Marco Polo is Film Invasion Los Angeles. That's FilmInvasionLA.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. And I will share that it's very, 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 very likely, almost certain, that there will be a Film Invasion Peru. Lima, Peru is going to have the second Film Invasion.
That's awesome.
There was almost a Film Invasion London. There was almost a Film Invasion San Francisco, actually. 2 cities where you've lived. There was almost one in Grand Rapids. People keep talking to me about a second Film Invasion. That's why we chose the name, so we could have multiple locations. And I think Peru is happening.
That's awesome. Congrats.
So we'll have in a Spanish-speaking country. And needless to say, the theater rental in Lima is a little nicer than. So anyway, but I'm very excited about that, and I think we're close enough now that I can talk about it.
That's awesome.
So I think, yeah, I know. So who knows? Maybe my next distraction will be like trying to support Spanish cinema.
Come to Madrid
in the language. So yes, South American and Spanish.
Yeah.
All right, Pablo, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Oh, wait, I didn't mention IndieChannel.tv. If you love indie films, go to IndieChannel.tv. Oops. All right. Bye.